if you learn a little differently than the standard conventional way, don't get frustrated. Just understand how you learn. Use that to your advantage instead of having to struggle and suffer trying to force yourself to learn the most not efficient way. It's just a waste of time for you if you learn differently, right?
If you do everything the standard conventional way, you should expect to have right about exactly 50th percentile outcomes. I think you're probably doing above average already, and you know you could do even better. And those are the type of people that I really look for, that I want to work with, that I like to help in entrepreneurship and real estate, understanding global markets. Like, if you're already doing well above average, but you know you could do even better, that's like my ideal person, you know? If you don't have $1 million yet, you're living a much lesser life than what could be easily available to you with the right guidance. My head coach has freed up a few spots in his calendar to hold one-on-one strategy calls with the highest quality applicants. If you're doing well already, and you're looking to accelerate your momentum and do even better, click the link in the description now and apply for your strategy session. More at the end of this video. Today I get the joy and privilege of chatting with Mikey Musumeci. Mikey's the current champion over at One Championship at 135 pounds. And now they have different divisions over there than UFC. So they have like a specific grappling. There's like grappling and Muay Thai, and they do some unique things over there.
Yeah. So in UFC, it's just mixed martial arts. One Championship has a few different divisions for different types of martial arts, like kickboxing, Muay Thai, MMA, and Jiu-Jitsu. So I have the belt in submission grappling at 135.
Dope. And you won numerous, you won the world's 5 times, is that right?
Yep.
5-time world champion in Jiu-Jitsu. And cool guy and great instructor. So I've been training with Mikey several days right now, and then in the past in Vegas we trained together before, and learned a lot from this guy. A lot of details, a lot of really precise techniques that really are not only creative but innovative. And I think you have one of the very top smartest minds that I've encountered.
Thank you.
In that space, in grappling. So I really enjoyed learning a lot of things from you. What got you involved in this? You said you told me previously you started at what age?
I started jiu-jitsu at 4 years old in a small town in New Jersey, Marlboro, New Jersey.
23 years already.
23 years.
Almost your whole life.
I'm like, people make the joke, I'm 27, which is not that young, but in jiu-jitsu years, I'm like 105 because I've been training so many years.
Well, this is only my 3rd year, and I feel like I have decent foundations, doing pretty good. Doing great compared to most people, but doing pretty good doing excellent, I think, for the amount of time that I put in. But I still got 20 years to catch up with. Yeah,
I feel like for you, especially because you mastered one thing in life, you're able to use what you learned from that and put that work ethic and the same type of way that you do things into jiu-jitsu, right? So it's maximizing your efficiency so much more than, let's say, someone that just started something. So when you say you started jiu-jitsu because of where you come from, I don't see it as you just starting jiu-jitsu.
I think
you're so smart.
Well, you are too. There's a ton of overlap, in my opinion, between various business elements and MMA or grappling. Well, MMA. There's a lot of psychological overlap. There's a lot of, in terms of the philosophies that you have to be successful at something, in terms of the sort of, work ethic that a person has to be successful. And those are kind of like universal truths in life where, I agree with your comment and slightly elaborating on it. If someone really has a high level mastery at something, you could help them translate that into another area if they have a sincere interest and focus on it, if they want to learn it.
Yeah, I feel like the steps, like once you master one thing, all that work ethic, everything you took for you to master that one thing, now we could go to apply it to another aspect of life. Of course, like what you just said, if we have the same passion, right? Because what got us to master something typically is like this passion. So I feel like whatever we're passionate about, like now we could just go into the next thing. And that's what's so cool.
I always warn people, and I'm curious your take on that. I don't disagree with anything you're saying, but the way that some people use that word passion, versus the way that I think that you mean it, is like, if you're passionate about things that provide you no damn benefit in life, maybe develop a new passion, maybe find something to be passionate about that is also going to, enhance your ability to be a better human. It's not just a I don't know. In my opinion, if a person's super passionate about, playing crossword puzzles or video games,
but there's no benefit. Oh, yeah, I understand what you mean. Yeah, I get that. So passion can be used broadly, I guess, but obviously having a passion where there's some sort of success that you could actually follow and have a path that you could use it in your life, that's definitely ideal.
You and I had a chat late the other night. We were up pretty late and we were chatting about evolutionary psychology and fundamentals of business and philosophy and a bit of history and a bit of everything. And I think, from that more evolutionary psychology perspective, you think like, what are the elements that make a high quality man or a high quality person? And I like to find overlap of like, well, what are some of those elements I could be passionate about that would help me be like a better protector for my loved ones? It would help me be a better provider for myself and my loved ones. It would help me be a higher level contributor to the tribe. How could I? And imagine in historic times or prehistoric times rather that there's some guy sitting around playing puzzles. He's sitting by the campfire playing with a couple of rocks and doing not much. And then there's another guy that, he goes out and kills a big elk or a water buffalo or something. I don't know if a water buffalo tastes good. Elk is pretty tasty.
Yeah.
But he brings back a big beast, back to the tribe and, presents it to the women of the tribe and says, here's 400 pounds of meat. Cook this, please. Probably one of those people is going to have higher status in the tribe than the other. The guy that's playing with the rocks and maybe bumping one on his head, probably not going to have the same level of respect or access to shared resources in the tribe. So if you're really passionate about some goofy shit that isn't really going to do much for you practically in life, maybe find a hobby that's going to contribute to your success. In my opinion, the best way to do that is, you and I talk about it, we have a little different perspective about helping others, but the more you could contribute to your tribe, the more you could have, to your group of people, to your social ecosystem, the more you're going to have other high quality people in your social ecosystem. The more you could contribute, the more other good people are happy to contribute to you.
Yeah, so like we were talking about, I feel like we all die one day, right? So the only three things that I was telling you that I feel stay on this earth is the impact we have on others. So like what he said, our passions being something that we could contribute and help others. The reproducing, like having a child that stays here when you die, because that literally is something that stays. And then they can have a child, then they have a child, so then reproduction. And then the love that you give others, your family, and that creates this circle of people that you learn from and you help people learn. And I feel like those are really the three only things: money, fame, titles. None of these things stay. So definitely finding a passion that is meaningful that we could contribute to society is definitely ideal. Crossword puzzles, that'll be difficult to contribute to society.
Yeah, you could be really great at video games, but it's not going to get you, except in very small niche circles, it's not going to help you really contribute to your family or be well respected by a quality tribe of other individuals, other high functioning individuals. So think about that. Funny enough, your brain and mine, well, the first day we met, we had several overlapping friends, but they might have said a couple things about me, or people have told me a couple things about you, and I was interested. I'm like, who's this like nerdy guy that he don't seem too excited? He seems kind of stoic, pretty flat, but man, he's really talented and obviously very smart. And then when we started talking together, when we first met, and I explained some of my learning processes, which are a bit unorthodox from others, but I tend to learn. I might be a little slow occasionally, but some things I can get quick, some things are a little slower, but either way I have very good retention. I can keep information for a long time. I explained that some of those processes a bit, and I seen your eyes got a little sparkly, and you're like, I do that too. And I felt like I have a long lost brother somehow that I felt like we get each other. We
Definitely.
have a lot of overlap in the way that we learn things, and sometimes the way that we look at things.
Yeah, so I feel like, especially with learning, a lot of people, a lot of classes and structure, especially in jiu-jitsu, which is my background, they'll do like a one-size-fits-all approach where they just expect people to just mimic a move. You know, like they'll just show a move, mimic it right now, go, and then you do it. But if you learn at a deeper level than just mimicking a move, that could be difficult for some people, right? So I always struggled learning in like a regular class myself. And what I would have to do is I would literally have to close my eyes and I would have to know every step in the move. And then I would have to be able to do the move in my mind. And the second I could see the move in my mind, I could do it perfect. And it made me have a deeper understanding the way I learned than the typical person just mimicking. But it took me sometimes longer, you know. So when I was teaching you, when I was training with you, and you always stop when you learn a move, like, let me sit a second. And then you download it in your mind like a computer. And then he comes back and does it like better than everyone. So it was instantly very similar to how I learned. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, nothing else to say about it. I'm like, oh, somebody else understands. Because I have so many, like really elite, amazing coaches that have a lot of respect for their skills and talents. But they say, oh, this. And I say the same thing. Just give me a minute. And to them, it must look weird as hell to some of them.
Yeah.
Where I sit around and I'm not an eye closer, but I'm looking in the sky, maybe waving a finger around, just looking at the ceiling and waving a finger around like a weirdo. But I'm picturing it in my head. I'm like, this here and that goes there, and your toes are here, and adjust your grip and this thing, and sometimes this, but other times that, and well, this if that thing happens, but this if the other thing happens, and all those little contingencies and flow chart. But the way that I map it in my head is very accessible, that I can find it from a different place and a different place and a different place. And
because it's deeper, it's more. But I think that that's super important for people watching this that do jiu-jitsu. If you're struggling learning the standard conventional way, that doesn't mean you're stupid. It just means that you learn differently, and to try to pay attention to how you learn most efficiently. And once you're able to figure out how you learn efficiently, your progress will significantly improve. And you don't have to force yourself to learn the standard way. It's not a bad thing that you learn a different way, right? Me and him, we both learned this way, and we instantly could learn things at a deeper level than many other people because we know how we learn. So that would be my advice for anyone learning jiu-jitsu or any other aspect. If you learn a little differently than the standard conventional way, don't get frustrated. Just understand how you learn and use that to your advantage instead of having to struggle and suffer trying to force yourself to learn the most not efficient way. It's just a waste of time for you if you learn differently, right?
I would comment that if you do everything the standard conventional way, you should expect to have right about exactly 50th percentile outcomes. Mm-hmm. If you do the standard normal way that everybody else does things, you should expect to have very average outcomes. And if you're doing substantially below average and you want to improve your circumstances incrementally, maybe that'll get you to average. But for the majority of people that would even get a few minutes into this conversation, I think you're probably doing above average already, and you could do even better. And those are the type of people that I really look for, that I want to work with, that I like to help in entrepreneurship and real estate and understanding global markets. Like, if you're already doing well above average, but you could do even better, that's like my ideal person, And average is not for us. I don't want to be average. I don't want to do anything that normal people do. Like, I put some clothes on and things like that, and you don't violate social norms in absurd ways. That if somebody invites you to your place, to their place, and you set their curtains on fire, like, probably they're not going to ask you to come back. So don't do reckless, crazy things. Be mindful, be respectful. But in your quest for
perfection,
for being exceptional is the way I think that was the word that I was looking for. But which same thought, If in your quest for being, exceptional, for being abnormally good, for being, closer to perfection, as Mikey's touching on.
We never gonna hit perfection, but we'll be obsessed with trying to reach it, right?
Yeah, and I think that obsession is very important. That if you do normal shit, if you want to learn from normal people to do normal things, I expect to have normal outcomes. And in the United States, which is the best economy in the world, is about less than 5% of the world's population. It's 27% of the world's economy. So even here, where we have substantially above average financial circumstances, an average person is making 43 grand, 45,000, an average individual. An average individual is making about $43,000 and change per year. So, I mean, I don't know what I could buy with that, but not much, you know? You might be alive, but I wouldn't call it living. And that's average. That's not like a loser. That's not like a significant underperformer. That's just average. It's like, you could do a lot better. You could do a lot better.
Yeah, I feel like that's the biggest thing. We always could all do better. We always could all improve in all aspects of life, right? We never stop learning. Like, my favorite thing in life is learning. I feel like the second you make this mindset where you stop learning, you stop living, right? And a lot of people did just die at a young age because they stopped learning. But that's the beauty of life, to constantly learn, to constantly improve in all aspects of life. Being a better person, getting, for me, better jiu-jitsu. For me, learning as many things as I can. I'm always just trying to learn and grow any way I can. And to be mean and to be hard on yourself and mean, you know, you can't kiss your own ass. Like, you can't be like, oh, you're doing okay, you're doing fine. No, you're never doing okay, fine. You always have to, you could always do better, you know? And I feel like a lot of people in life, they make this illusion, and they surround themselves with a circle of people that just kiss their ass and they make their ego so high. They are able to live in their illusion, and it's nice. Nobody ever challenges them. They could feel what they want to feel, and they can make this fake world. Instead of having those friends that hold you accountable, keeping it real with you, telling you what you don't want to hear, right? So I feel like that's so important in life for us to grow, having that inner dialogue where we're really mean to ourselves, but also having friends that keep it real with you. You know, I only surround myself with people that will tell me when I could do better, what I could do better, what I could learn, you know? And like you were saying before, having that circle of good people that help you grow. It's such an important aspect of us as humans, I feel.
I don't think somebody is my friend if they don't tell me the truth. It's not my friend.
Yeah.
So I'd like to be around high functioning people that are willing to be honest with me. It's a lot easier sometimes to affirm somebody's ego or, you know, their preferred identity, whatever that might be. You know, whatever little things they think they're superheroes about, or, you know, gods or titans or whatnot. Mm-hmm. I think a high quality friend should tell you, like, you know, hey, I think there's an opportunity over here you should be aware of. That's a polite way of saying of like, hey, you're probably up and not living to your true potential. So either of those is fine with me. Like, I have some friends that are like, you know, this is great, this is up, we got to fix this. So I have some people in my life that are like that, and I have some people that are a little more diplomatic than I am, and say, oh, you know, have you ever thought about doing it this way? That's a nice way of saying you're kind of up, and probably think about doing it this way, dummy. Either one of those is fine, but I'd rather they point it out to me than allow me to fumble around. And
it shows they care, actually.
Yeah,
that's how I see it. I see like the friends that are just like the people that have people in their life that are just kissing your ass and not telling you what's up or what you're doing wrong. Do they really care about you? You know, I feel like the people in my life I could be kind of mean to because I care, right? If I care about someone, I'm kind of mean. I tell them, you're messing this up. And if the person can't handle that I'm being real with them, I don't want them in my life, because they're not living life the way I'm living my life, you know, where we're constantly trying to learn, grow, and improve. And it's painful if somebody tells you you're doing something wrong, but you have to drop your ego, accept that, and grow, because they're helping you, you know? So I'd rather be around people that are helping me and hurt my ego than be around people that sugarcoat my ego, but I stop learning, growing, and improving.
I don't think that your ego is your friend, or I don't think that my ego is my friend. I think that you know, your general egoic structure is a thought process that's a bit of a defense mechanism.
Defense mechanism.
And tells you like, oh, you're great the way you are. You don't have to do anything more. You're great the way you are. You don't have to do anything more. And I want to do more. I want to be a better version of myself. I want to be able to contribute to the people I care about at a higher level. I'm not nice to everybody. I don't want to hang out with everybody. I don't want to save the world. I don't want to save the dolphins or rear a porcupine or whatever. Like, I don't really care about that shit. And you know, people don't like to say that today because they want to be, you know, I want to help everybody. I don't want to help everybody. I want to help a few people who are serious about helping themselves. And I want to make sure that I can contribute at a high enough level that I've earned the right to be around other high quality people that are also thoughtful or reciprocal and happy to contribute to me. So I like to have win-win relation. I don't trust a relationship if we can't help each other long term. I think, well, one of us is stupid, one of us is getting a better deal than the other, and I'd like both to have a really good win-win, So I think the foundations of relationships. We've talked about friendships, mentoring, coaches, teachers, etc. But I think the foundation of a really healthy, like an ideal relationship, would be two or more individuals that had similar values, meaning that they value things like integrity, or they're going to be on time, they're going to keep their word, they're not going to screw each other over in some slimy way. So similar values, similar goals, that they both would like to have more of that. We're moving in that direction, both of us. In differentiated skill sets. I think those are the three elements that make an ideal relationship. Mm-hmm. If you had similar values, you trust each other. You can agree, like, hey, we're not going to each other over in these numerous ways. Yep. Similar goals. We both want to go over here. You and I both want to be better at jiu-jitsu. You and I both want to be better, have more financial freedom, and more other high quality relationships, friendships. We both want similar things. And then differentiated skill sets. So like, there's some things that I could help fill in the blanks for you. There's some things you can help fill in the blanks for me. And we're both just very organically and sincerely better off,
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a great point you made about differentiated skill sets, because we both have mastery of a different skill, and we both want to keep learning and improving in your life, right? So surrounding yourself with people with the same values as you and the same work ethic, and then you have these people, so you're like the same language, right, basically, but different skills, and then we can learn from each other, and then that's what makes us keep evolving as humans. So I think that's a beautiful thing to have in your life, and I think that's why having the perfect circle is so important as we get older. I feel like when we're younger, so this is what I've noticed, I don't know about you, but you don't typically get to have the perfect circle of people in your life when you're younger. But I feel like that's your challenge in life, is when you don't have the perfect people in your life, to learn about who you are and to learn about your values as a person during that time. I feel like we learn so much more from people how not to be than how to be. Mm-hmm. So when we're around these, the people that we don't want to be like, we learn, okay, this is who I am. So once you establish who you are, you establish your values and your work ethic and how you are as a person, then when you get older and you're around a lot more people, you're able to start developing this strong, healthy circle of people. What do you think about that?
I think it makes a lot of sense. I think when you're born, you're not born into your ideal group of people for your best possible self. Yep. You're born into an assortment of random family members and random just geographically located people, the random people that happen to be in the same neighborhood or the same school system or whatnot. And there's gradients of that you might have some level of luck to be in a place that has more safety, more protection, higher level overall intellect or household income. That's nice to an extent. Where that breaks down is there's a lot of people that I knew that grew up in a more so-called privileged environment than I did, and they're total ups as adults. Mm-hmm. So because things were easier, they didn't have things to test their spirit and test their Nietzsche would call will to power, or their desire to overcome and be a better person. They didn't have those circumstances. So some of those people that grew up, softer and easier, well, they stayed soft. But if you stay soft, life's not easy if you're a man. You don't want to be a soft man. So I think that part made an awful lot of sense. And some people don't like the way that I say this. They think that's mean, or that's no, it's just a fact. I don't have random friends. I don't just hang out with random people. That random dude that approaches me on the sidewalk is probably not the best person that I should be spending my time with. Just statistically, that's just not true. Or the random person that grew up in your neighborhood when you were a kid. Cool. We might have been friends back in the day. And if we kept growing together and doing stuff together, that's fantastic. Those are amazing stories for the few rare times that happens. But the reality of life is a lot of your friends are not going to be supportive. We talked just a few minutes ago about what it means to be a good friend and the structure of high quality friendships or relationships. But some of your friends don't want the best for you. They're not really your friends. Yeah, because they're not going to keep up with you. Yep. They're not going to keep up with you, and they know it. So when they start seeing you be more successful, then they become critics. There's you got to do this different, you got to do that different, or you're too good for us now, or you're this or you're that. It's like, man, I want to see my friends be more successful. I want to help contribute to their success in any way I can, because I have enough confidence in myself that I'm going to do good enough that if my friends are super successful, they're not going to leave me or abandon me or something. We're just all going to be better off together.
Yeah. One thing I would say is I'm always trying to think like I know a lot of people watching this that if you do jiu-jitsu, you're probably in a circle, or anyone in life, if you're watching this, you might be in a circle that's not ideal for you right now. And just understand that we all start in circles like that in our lives that weren't ideal for us, right? And this is a time period that you start learning who you are. You start working your way to get the right people in your life, right? So if you're frustrated right now, you're at the wrong type of people, just remember that, and you don't have to stay in this circle. You know, when I was younger and I was in the wrong circle of people, I used to think, what's wrong with me? I wish I wanted to change myself to fit in this circle, right? Because as humans, we want to belong, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a very lonely thing when you feel like you don't belong with the people you're with, right? But that's a beautiful thing that you don't belong with those people. It's a blessing that you don't belong with those people. So don't get angry or upset. You might be a little alone right now, but keep to who you are. Keep working hard until one day when you're able to fix this situation and make your circle ideal to how you want it. You know, and you will be able to. So if you're frustrated right now, you're struggling with this, just remember that. I think that's super important. And I wish I had someone telling me that when I was younger. I think that would have helped me a lot.
You said a lot of really smart things in the last minute there that and just merging our last two thoughts together is it's more lonely to be with the wrong people than to be by yourself.
100%.
You feel more lonely. Yeah. I do. I feel more lonely if I'm with people that I'm like, these are not my people, than if I feel great I never feel lonely by myself. Yep. I always say I have rich thoughts. I have plenty of things to process and plenty of things to do. And my brain is very active and happy, and I'm quite content being alone. And if you're lonely when you're by yourself, you're probably in bad company, which fix yourself, do better.
It's so draining when you're around the wrong people, right? You instantly feel exhausted. You have no energy, you know.
I really like myself. I'm very pleased with, I spent 40 years trying to be a better human, but I'm really quite pleased with myself. And another correlated thought to this is the thought about confidence. And I think this sums up a few things that we've been touching on. Like, confidence doesn't mean that you're confident that everybody will like you. I don't think that's what confidence means. Oh, I feel confident everybody's going to like me and agree with me. No, confidence means that you believe in yourself and your way of life to such a great extent that you're going to live your life that way if anybody likes it or not. Whether anybody likes it or not, this is the path that I'm supposed to be on. This is the thing that I'm supposed to do. And that's what real confidence is. And
authenticity.
Yeah. The confidence means having the trust in yourself to be your sincere and authentic self and do the things that you know that you're supposed to do, even if there's a period of time where you're losing friends, you're losing people in your life.
Acquaintances.
Those acquaintances, sure, they're not truly friends. Those people find it unrelatable to be around you because quite literally, you're outgrowing them. You're growing at a faster rate than maybe they even have the ambition to try to do. And it's going to be hard for them to keep up with you. And then when I talk about this with groups sometimes, then people say, well, but they're my friends. They're not your friends. They're some of your biggest enemies. They're some of your biggest detractors, some of your biggest poisoners. And an analogy I make all the time is like, why do you want people in your peer group that would poison your success? Why do you want people in your social group that would pull you down or drag you back or take you away from being your best self? And there's, but it's my friend Derek. Oh, but it's my brother. Oh, but it's my mom. It's family. Family is so important. I disagree. I really disagree. I think to myself, here's this bottle of water, and I think, what would be the ideal amount of arsenic to add to the water? It's just nice water, plain drinking water. What would be the ideal amount of cyanide that we would put in here that would make it, taste better or be better for you? So that sounds ridiculous when you say it that way. Or like, what would be the amount? Like, you see, and I got a couple of rabbits over there. Like, how many bunny turds? How many bunny turds would be ideal? I kind of prefer mine just plain, without bunny turds. No bunny turds, no arsenic, no cyanide, just water. I kind of just like the pure water. But probably you do too. But when I say that about their peer group, then they say, but. You want 98% decent people and just 2% of people that'll poison your life, poison your success?
Yeah, you're putting those people in your life into your water when you do that.
Why not 2% bunny turds then?
Yeah.
Why not 2% arsenic? Oh, because it'll kill you. But those people will kill your success too. They're not your friends.
And I feel like for myself personally, I feel like when I was younger, I had a lot of toxic people like this in my life. And because I didn't feel good about myself, even when they were bringing me down, I was seeking their approval. Mm-hmm. So I kept them in my life because I wanted to try to get them to compliment me, try to get their approval, which I know sounds crazy, but I feel like for a long time, that's why I kept the wrong people in my life. And then what I learned is when you're not looking for other people's approval and you're just your authentic self and you love who you are, loving yourself is so important. Then you remove these people immediately because you realize you're putting the arsenic in the water. But when you're in that like mindset where you're like, you don't love yourself, you can't be alone, you're looking for these people to fill that for you, you know? So I definitely think self-love is so important, and that's the thing that gets you to remove those people. For myself,
you know, you made this comment earlier about you know, when you're around the wrong people, sometimes you think, well, what's wrong with me? I don't fit in. What's wrong with me? And you know, I had some of those thoughts when I was young, when I was like a child and through grade school or junior high school type of thing. I was obviously different than a lot of the normal, you know, what normal people did. And I never felt like, I'm like, oh, these are my people. I never felt like the people in grade school or junior high or high school, like, oh, these are my people. I always thought like, well, it'd be very easy for me to outperform these people, to work harder, to do more, to have, you know, higher expectations of myself. And sometimes it's a little bit mean or negative self-talk. And sometimes it's, you know, a little positive and optimistic. Whichever motivator that you need to use is totally fine. But don't get trapped into a thought loop of like you need to be liked by everybody. Mm-hmm. You don't need the people in your current environment to like you. You don't need the people in your current environment to do too much for you at all in the big picture. If you're willing to do more for yourself, if you're willing to earn a better place in the world, to choose to conquer your current circumstances, to overcome your current circumstances and earn better circumstances, guess what? You're going to be associating with the other people who made the same effort in life, who trusted themselves enough, who loved themselves enough to invest in themselves, to invest in a better education, better teachers, better coaches, better mentors, better ways of life, and you know, have higher integrity to hold themselves accountable to implement those best practices learned by you know, again, the teachers, coaches, mentors, and you know, to implement those best practices and earn a better life, to earn a better circumstance.
Yeah, it's like one big thing for me. I remember when I was a kid in school, like you were saying, like belonging and fitting in, I didn't feel like I fit in much either. And I feel like now that I'm older, I see it so different when you're a kid. When you're a kid, your whole goal is to just fit in and belong, to look the same as everyone else. I remember I used to Google when I was a kid, why can't I be normal? You know, because I felt so different than other kids. I even Googled this once. What I learned is when you're older, it's actually the coolest thing is being different. And those differences are what make us unique as humans, you know? So now that I'm older, I'm so happy I had those unique things. Then I had these differences than the other people that I was with, you know? But so the people that are feeling alone, it does suck feeling that alone feeling. It does suck. But it's a blessing at the same time, and you'll be grateful for that feeling when you get older if you keep being authentic to yourself and you don't change who you are. If you have that feeling, it's fine. It's actually great. Just don't try to be normal like the other people, because then you won't ever achieve anything, or you won't ever bring yourself to your maximum potential in life, right? We all have different maximum potentials, right? We're not saying like, oh, you're going to be the world champion or the best in the world, but you could be the maximum that you could yourself could be in your lifetime, right? So I feel like us as humans, we have to strive to be the best we can be for ourselves. And the way you do that is embracing who you are. And you don't need to be liked by everyone. You don't need to be friends with everyone. Typically, if you see somebody that's friends with everyone, they're not true to themselves because they change who they are with who they're around. instead of them being true to themselves and staying who they are, right? Those people with like 1 billion friends, are they really their friends?
They're not my friend. I'm not spending any time with that. I can't trust that person. They're either lying or they have terrible judgment. One way or another, they have terrible judgment. They may or may not be a liar, but they're either lying to themselves or they're lying to me. But a person who, everybody's equal, everybody's great, I love everybody. You can't love yourself and love every other asshole out there at the same time. It's not possible. It's not possible. That, before the fellow died, I tell this story on occasion, and I had a lot of respect for this guy. So a guy named Jack Welch, and Jack Welch was the CEO of a company called General Electric, and that was the biggest company in America at one time. It was 1% of the entire American economy. And Jack Welch, he was in his 80s when I met him. He's 80 or 81, I think. And Jack made a comment. He says, he's an old, grumpy Boston guy, and he says, the problem with these millennial kids, they want to give. Everything's free. They're going to give everything away. He said, the thing is, you haven't done nothing yet. You got to do something first to have something to give away. And he said, it'd be like if I show up in front of the people, I got a horse and a wagon, and I show up with my horse and wagon. I stand in the back of the wagon and say, it's all for you. It's all for you. But there's nothing in the wagon. He said, you got nothing to give. You got to do something first. And I thought that was really on point and informative. That you have to go do something meaningful. This is the way I say it in my own talk. It's like, well, it's important for me to raise my value, to make myself more useful, to be able to contribute at a higher level. So I can earn my rightful spot amongst a higher quality tribe of people. That if I want to be around other people that are top performers, then I have to be that way myself. I have to hold myself accountable and make sure that I can make myself useful to those people. If not, I have no reason they should want to spend time with me or do anything with me, and that's just reality, So I don't think the world's hard or mean or no, that's just reality. Like, if I want high quality people to be thoughtful about me in certain areas, then I damn well better be able to contribute to them and make their lives better too. That's what a good person should be doing. And on a slightly different note, some of the things we've been saying are maybe to an older person, to a person in their 30s, 40s, 50s. Maybe it sounds like it's targeted to, they're talking to young kids and it's too late for me or something. Like, no, asshole, it's not. Even you, old man, who's just my age or younger, even you could do better. And a real place where people are lonely today is they're a little bit older, they're out of college, they finished college, and they told themselves, I'm going to do good in high school so I can go to the great college, and I'm going to go to the great college so I can get the great job, and I'm going to have the great job, and I'm going to make a lot of money, and it's going to be a great career, and I'm going to have a pretty woman, and everything's going to be good. And they did the things that historically you're told are the right way to do, and then they're like, wait a minute, I'm just making a somewhat above average income, but not what I thought it was going to be. I hate everybody at work. This is what graduate school is, by the way. But in business school, you and I both talked about business school from different perspectives, but in graduate business school, there's the two main groups of people there are a bunch of people that were investment bankers and hated it, and now they want to be consultants. And then the other group are a bunch of people who were consultants and hated it, and now they want to be investment bankers. And these are all people with a genius level IQ that are 135 average IQ or so at the graduate school that I went to. And you think a couple smart people like that, if they just sat and talked with each other, be like, both of these jobs suck. It's going to be a career of hard work and disrespect. And, if you're smart enough to be there, you probably should be smart enough to do something else together. But they never figure that out. They just want to. So they had a shitty job that they hated, and now they're going to get a new shitty job that they hated. They're just trading places. And there's a little bit of a sad humor about it. You're not going to have, in the modern workplace, there's no loyalty for you as an employee. You're going to be asked by the human resource department to agree to absurd things and say absurd things and censor yourself in absurd ways and not be able to talk about reality or you live your life in a sincere or authentic way. And then if you work, even some of the best jobs, jobs, the top paying careers but you have a job, it's all this way. Carl Icahn had this saying about finance people, the business people. He said, if you work on Wall Street and you want a friend, buy a dog. Basically saying you're going to have no friends. Yeah. You're going to have no friends in the professional environment. You're going to have no friends. So, and that's what it is. You got people that want to backstab you, that want to, they're not the best people in the world. And the point that I'm making is I created an ecosystem within my business where the people that go through my mentoring courses, if they go through all 3 courses successfully, we invite those people to join our mastermind group. And in that mastermind group is a couple hundred people that, and it's hard to get in and it's expensive. But in that mastermind group, there's a couple hundred people that are, hard work. They're our people. They're very hard working. It's a place that's not politically correct, that you can be a sincere and authentic person. You could be yourself. But everybody there is very smart, very hard working. And that's been so useful to me that to have a couple hundred really smart people around that I can call them and say, hey, what are your thoughts about this tech thing that I don't really understand, but you're a top level expert at?
Yeah.
Hey, what are your thoughts about this medical thing that I don't fully understand? I can call 5 doctors and surgeons and say, hey, I don't know enough about this, but what are your thoughts about this?
Yeah.
That's super valuable,
No, definitely.
You can actually trust those people. Yeah. It's not just some professional. It's I know that person. They're like us.
Yeah. And you were able to make a circle of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel amazing about that it's been super valuable to me in terms of investing or making business decisions, that you have a pool of people that you can get high level expert guidance without any political correct fluff bullshit. Just hey, these are the facts of the situation. That you could trust their opinion about something.
No, yeah, it's amazing. Again, I think that this all comes down to that uncomfortable time. Uncomfortability is the word. When you don't have the right circle or people around you, staying true to yourself, finding what you love to do, passion, but with a purpose, like we talked about. Committing to your passion 100%, no excuses, being hard on yourself, and then your reward will be what we're talking about, But I feel like that's the first step, right? Being able to stay in that ground of feeling alone, feeling that you don't fit in with other people. I think that's the thing that us humans struggle with at the beginning. Do you agree? That's the biggest hurdle we all have to face. And again, we're saying this, that it's worth it to face it. You'll love life so much more. My mom always used to say to me, work hard now, enjoy life later. And then what I learned as I got older from this quote that my mom used to say to me is that you learn to love to work hard. Mm-hmm. You enjoy life later because you enjoy the working hard that you learned when you're younger.
I still like to work hard.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You learn to love that.
Yeah.
And then you enjoy life later by working harder. But you learn to love the work hard now. Work hard now becomes the enjoying life later, because working hard becomes our foundation as humans in life.
There's a compounding effect. Yeah, the reason that is there's a compounding effect of not only about money. When I was young, I didn't understand this yet. That when people, when in a business context, when you think about compounding money, it's okay, we can get a 10% growth rate or 8% growth rate compounded over time. But as a human, you can do that with your money, but you can also do that with your education, and you can also do that with your social resources. And there's a synergy between those 3 things. That if you're always focused on building high quality social resources in a sincere and authentic way, and you're also focused on learning new things, learning pragmatically useful things that would make you a better human. And my general definition of a better human is more able to contribute to your tribe, more able to take care of yourself and your loved ones. That's, of course you're going to have more money. I think the money is the third thing. If you want to have money, if you were able to contribute to high quality people at a high level, all right. So and you were always learning new stuff to make yourself even more useful. So you're compounding, pragmatic intellectual concepts, as well as compounding, high level social resources. Then does that sound like the profile of someone who's going to die of starvation for lack of resources? No. If you have your brain is very smart and you have great people around you, there's going to be some money. You're going to find some money too. It's going to be okay.
It'll be an indirect result of that, honestly. True. It won't even be the direct result. I just want to make money. It's you following purposeful passions, surrounding yourself with the right people, and then money is an indirect result of that.
Mm-hmm. And some people say, money, there's more to life than money. No, there's not. You know what? There's more to life than water too. Life's not all about money, Derek. Well, you know what? Life's not all about water. How long do you want to go without water? Life's not all about breathing. How long would you like to go without breathing? So, but when people say this shit, life's not all about money. Money just means your freedom. It means your accumulation of resources. It's a measure of your contribution to society at that time that you've contributed in a significant enough way that you've gained you've paid for your life's expenses and gained a surplus of resources that will pay for your future expenses and solve problems not only for yourself but for your tribe, your family, your whoever you care about in the world. And it's money that'll buy your little daughter braces if she's born with crooked teeth. It's money that'll send your kids to the best schools instead of an average school. It's money that'll keep your family safe from violence and other nasty things in the world.
Yeah.
So it's money buys you safety, money buys you education, money buys you better health care. In the United States, even $1 million, there's an academic study on this, even a $1 million net worth adds 11 years to your life expectancy. 11 years.
Wow.
$1 million, 11 years. Because you're going to be in a safer environment around, different type of people, better access to food, better access to health care, et cetera. $1 million adds 11 years to your life.
It's crazy.
So, when you hear that statistic, like anybody who wouldn't make the effort to go find at least $1 million, like, you could do that too. I did that in my 20s. You could do that too, no problem. No problem. And inflation's on your side because, I'd have to make almost $2 million today to have essentially the same net worth 20 years later, So inflation's on your side. It's no problem for you to go find a couple $1 million somewhere. But yeah, when I hear that of like, money is, that's really a loser mentality. That's really the mentality of somebody that is not a high level contributor, is not a high level thinker. Like, if you had any curiosity of like, how does stuff work? How does the world work? How do things fit together? How do the silly humans seem to behave over time? If you just had a sincere curiosity about those things, you'd be building, better intellectual models in your mind of like, how does stuff work? How does stuff fit together? How does the world seem to be? How do the humans seem to be? What do they value? What could I do to help some of those humans? What could some of them do to help me? What could I do for them that'd be very easy for them to help me? And you start thinking like that, and pretty soon you're going to have more, better resources in all sorts of areas, and you're going to have plenty of financial resources as well. If you're not thinking about that, if you're not solving a problem of like, how could I make myself better, learn more, be better, and contribute at a higher level, do you really deserve those resources? Do you deserve the best of everything if you've done not much at all to earn it? The guy, Charlie Munger, he's the marble statue in the middle over there. Charlie Munger is the business partner of Warren Buffett. He just died. Mm-hmm. Charlie was 99 years old. He missed his 100th birthday by like 5 weeks. Mm-hmm. But Charlie, my favorite quote from him, he's really quite a brilliant person. Charlie said that the best way to get what you want in life is to deserve it. I thought that was a beautiful quote. The best way to get what you want is to deserve it. And that's one of those efficiency things that you love to talk about of like, well, if that's true, then we don't have to be distracted with all these other little nonsense and hopes and dreams and wishes. How could I best deserve it? Yep. What could I do to best earn the outcomes that I desire?
And that's your work ethic with being efficient.
Mm-hmm.
It won't be just working hard. Like anyone could work hard. Anyone could be like, I want this. And then you just go out and run into a wall. But learning how to be efficient with your time to maximize your work ethic. Now that's working hard, right? I feel like especially in jiu-jitsu, my field of jiu-jitsu, I feel like the out of control feeling, like when somebody loses a fight, they'll be like, they feel out of control. So then they're like, I got to work harder. So them working harder is just going harder and training, running into a wall, not fixing the mistakes that they just made when they lost a match. So it's like, did they fix anything that just happened in their fight? No, but in their brain, they took control by going harder. So now they're working harder. That didn't change anything, right? They weren't efficient with their time. So do they deserve to succeed now that they trained harder, running into a wall? It didn't do anything. So I think deserving is efficiency. Working hard with efficiency. And I think that creates you to deserve something because you did everything possible to make it happen.
What are your thoughts? The other day, you and I had a conversation around the idea that a top performer or a world champion should stay prepared. They should be ready for a short notice fight. Yep. They should be ready to. They should be living their life in an optimal way to continue the winning.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that?
So when you're a professional athlete, especially a fighter or grappler like I am, we have a responsibility that we have to be ready to compete at any time. So the way that we live our life, there is no camps. Like, oh, I'm in camp for this match. No, your camp is every second. Every day you're training to improve, get better, be in shape. So my mentality is that if you call me tonight, you have to compete. I am ready to fight anyone and beat anyone. I have to be at all times able to beat anyone, and that's how I live my life. It's a lot of pressure, it's a lot of stress. Oh, it's uncomfortable, but that's what makes you the best. When you're constantly in that growth mindset, you're constantly in camp. There is no off season, So I feel like that's what makes you continually progress. If you have these long periods of, I just finished a match, now I'm gonna just rest. I'm gonna slack off. I'm gonna drink alcohol. I'm gonna go party. Meanwhile, all my opponents are training to beat me. They're all getting better. So during that time, I might be here, my opponents might be here. Now I'm slacking off, they're getting here. They're getting here. Now I win again, and now again I'm off. Now here. Now what just happened? Now they got to my level, right? And now I might lose, So there is no off season. There is no off period. If you're committed to being the best you could be and the most growth you could be, there is no off period. You're just constantly in camp getting better. You're in camp every day.
Three things that come to mind around this is I had a chat with Kamaru Usman recently. About a month ago, he spoke at one of my events with me. And, Kamaru was I think 6-time UFC champion.
Amazing.
5 or 6, I think 6. He won 15 fights in a row against really top-level people. And, he made a comment. He's like, well, when you're the world champion, which you currently are, when you're a world champion, you have to train to fight everybody. And he says it's very, very high level of pressure that everyone else is reviewing your tapes and training to fight you. They're training for a specific individual. He says, he's got to be good everywhere.
Yeah.
They're only looking for his strengths and weaknesses, but he's got to be training to fight everybody. And it's like a relentless pursuit to try to stay on top there. That you got a big target on your back, and
it's definitely different than when you're the upcoming challenger going. It's when you're doing that, you're just studying the top guy. Mm-hmm. But when it's us, we just have to constantly keep progressing. We have a target on our back at all times.
Second thought of 3 is my primary coach and a mutual friend of ours, Jake Shields. When there was a time in Jake's life, he won 15 fights in a row, and against several really high level people, guys like Dan Henderson and Tyrone Woodley, Carlos Condit, some of those people that I know and respect. Shout out to Dan Henderson. I asked him, like, what was that period of your life like? What was your social life, or what were your habits like during that time? He said exactly what you said. That he said, you win a fight on Saturday and you travel on Sunday. He said Monday I'd be back in the gym.
Yep.
So I'd be back in the gym training, and that's how he won 15 fights in a row at the time. Is that it wasn't time to take a vacation and get drunk for 2 weeks, or go off for a month and do silly things. It's just like, no, back in the gym on Monday. Back in the gym on Monday. And a third thought I had, and I mean this with zero disrespect, but I seen Alexander Volkanovski. He had a loss recently, and he made some comments that he was drinking quite a bit, and not really being his best self after a previous fight or after earlier fight, and. I listened to that, and I have tremendous respect for him. He's also a multi-time champion and really one of the, maybe the best in his weight division. It's a guy that I have a lot of respect for. But when I heard him say that, I really made that note to myself of if you're a top performer, why are you drinking 3 beers? Why are you doing anything that's not optimizing your circumstance? And I just made a note in my head at a deeper level. I had this thought for a long time, but it was another little painful note. So painful in the sense of me being empathetic, that I seen that he wished he did that different,
Yeah.
And I felt that kind of empathetically. I'm like, I see why he did that, but he knows he could have done better and should have done better. And I kind of made a note to myself of I got to make sure that anything that I could do better, I should just be doing that on autopilot. I shouldn't be You don't need 3 drinks in a day.
No.
Have a drink at dinner if you really want one. Do that once or twice a week if you really want to. I'm not anti-alcohol or something, but anything you should do should be optimizing your overall performance. It shouldn't be taking away from it.
Yeah, something that I always do before competing. It's a natural thing. I think most people that if you watch this and you do jiu-jitsu, right before competing, what happens to me is my mind goes through all the boxes. Did I eat correctly? Did I train enough? Mm-hmm. Did I do everything that I could have possibly done? It's super harsh on you and you're like, I wish I would have done this more. I wish I would have done this more. Mm-hmm. So that realization at that moment, everything comes out, so you can't really hide and the results speak for themselves. So if you're slacking off, you're not training right, and then you don't perform, that's a result that happens. There's no bullshit. You can't say but my skill level, this and that. When you compete, it's fact. So that's what I always loved about jiu-jitsu. And again, with Volkanovski, he was a great champion, and he had such a skill level above the people he's competing with. Mm-hmm. But when you slack off, you do other things. Obviously, there's a lot of mental health going into fighting and competing, and the pressure and all the anxiety and the depressions, the ups and downs from the chemicals imbalances in our brains, right? So sometimes it makes us cope different ways that we shouldn't. So, but it's hard to maintain that lifestyle, and when you look at a story like that, it does keep you in check and in line. That if you're feeling those things, you have to stay disciplined. You have to keep your routine because any day could be your last, So I think it's so important we reflect on situations like that.
Yeah, a lot of good things to digest there, and maybe the last couple, wrapping up a great framework for someone that I think if they replayed this and took some notes of some of the things I said, you have a really good structural framework of how to think and how to behave to be a higher level performer. You made some comments earlier about sometimes you got to be mean to yourself, and I don't disagree. I'm just going to mention 2 conflicting frameworks. Both of them worked for me at different times in my life. Both of them worked for me. Now, when I was younger, when I was even your age, and I'd say to my early 30s, I used a lot of negative self-talk that I didn't feel like doing something, and I said, all right, well, don't be a bitch. Get up, do the thing you're supposed to do. Don't be weak. Don't be soft. Don't stay dumb. Don't stay poor. Just harsh, more harsh like that. And there's a saying in my MMA gym. There's a sign or a thing on the wall. It says, "So are you behaving like a champ or a chump?" And I would have said that to myself 20,000 times, and meaning those little micro decisions that you make 1,000 times a day. Yeah. I would use it at those times. Be like, are you really engaging in optimal behavior right now? Are you engaging in a way that you deserve a high quality outcome, or are you engaging in just some average? You're just doing some normal person shit right now. And I would just abuse myself with it. It was mean. It was mean, and it hurt. But God damn it helped me get great results. It helped me go to the #1 business school for graduate school. It helped me have an amazing dating life and high quality women in my life. It helped me have an amazing social network, amazing business network. Helped me make tens of millions of dollars. It'd be hard for me to not have $100 million before I'm 50. That in the next couple of years I'll hit $100 million. So I don't even have to work hard for that. That's mechanics of compounding now. Would I take it back, saying some of those mean things to myself, or saying doesn't matter if you slept 2 hours, get the f up and do the thing you're supposed to do right now.
It made you who you are.
I'm really grateful that now I don't have to do that at the moment, because I found better ways to talk to myself, and I kind of want to talk about that transition point for just a second. So forgive me if I'm a bit long-winded, but there was a point where I thought, where you're kind of being a little mean to yourself like that. And then you say, well, actually, I honestly said some more mean things to myself. I say, hey, asshole, you've been doing the thing for 20 years. You don't have to beat yourself up to do the thing. You know you're going to do the thing. You've been doing the thing. You got a lot of history doing the thing. How about you trust yourself to do the thing and talk to yourself in the nicest way possible without violating reality, without having some fantasy shit, with still speaking like real and authentic and, within the parameters of realities that create success. So as long as you don't start lying to yourself or being too soft, why don't you just tell yourself in the nicest way possible, Hey, let's get up and do the thing now. Let's find some joy in doing the thing. Does that make sense?
So I think the biggest thing that I took from what you said, and I kind of had this transition period too now thinking about it, trust. So I think what happens is that first we're very mean to ourselves, to push ourselves, to motivate ourselves. But then after all those years, overcoming, doing the things that were uncomfortable for you, and then succeeding. The success for us, we have success, we don't get a high from it, we instantly move on to our next goal. But the success builds trust in our minds that we know what we're capable of. Yeah. And then once we know what we're capable of, and we know our work ethic, and we know that whatever we put our minds to, we're going to give 100% effort. Now I think positive self-talk is possible, and I think that that is important. And I think I do that way more now too. But I think that the negative asshole Mikey that used to like be so mean to himself, I think that's important when we're younger. I do. And now I think that once you get to a certain point of trust in yourself and your ability, again, when we trust in ourselves, we're not cocky, we're not overconfident. Trust is literally logically knowing that all the times that we did everything right and we succeeded and overcame all the obstacles, So that's why I think I'm always afraid of that self-positive talk, because a lot of people are just ignorant, overly confident, right? And then that sabotages them. But if you're constantly humble throughout the years, I think the negative self-talk keeps you humble. And then once you have that humility and you're positive to yourself, then your growth is even higher.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, I like the way you said that, and I would echo that part again, is that that's after you trust yourself. Say, hey, I've done the thing, I've been doing the thing, I trust that I'm going to continue doing the thing. Why don't I put myself in the best mindset, have the most positive self-talk possible, without denying reality, without getting lazy, without lying to yourself. And that gave me like a little boost of energy where I felt like, instead of beating yourself up, you feel like, hey, now you feel a little happier, a little lighter, and I got even better results. Mm-hmm. But I don't think I could have done that 10 years sooner or something. Like, it was a process. It was a process where, 10 years earlier, I didn't have that same trust in myself. I didn't earn the right to feel that way. And that was a process that I had to go through to say, hey, asshole, get up and do the thing you're supposed to do. Quit around. Are you a champ or a chump? That wasn't the nicest way to talk to myself, but damn, I'm happy I did it. And over time, if whatever you need to do to make sure that you do the right thing, make sure that you do it. Make sure you do it. If you can say nice words and have great productivity, that's fantastic. If you need to, if you're being a bitch, if you're engaging in behaviors that would lead to an outcome that's below your real potential, you should tell yourself, hey, I'm acting like a loser right now. I'm not being my best self. Stop this shit. Turn it around.
Yeah, I think, again, being either real with yourself or having people to keep you humble, right? I think it's so easy for some people. I always had very low self-esteem, but I think it's so easy for some people to like to overcompensate and act like they're so confident and to believe their bullshit, right? And the second you start believing your bullshit, or again, the yes men people around you, then that's your biggest downfall, because now you don't have that self-talk voice in your head and you stop improving, and now you're delusional. Like, you're literally living a fake life.
And, weird enough, this was never appealing to me, so I've never done this to myself, but I've seen other people do it, that they have some level of success, and then they surround themselves, and you've touched on this a couple different times, a couple different ways, and they surround themselves by people who kind of kiss their ass too much. And
they want to be the smartest person in the room, right? That saying, how you put yourself around stupid people, you're a little smarter than them, now you're the smartest person in the room. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, I feel myself, I love being an idiot, I love being with the smart people, and I love learning from them, right? So it hurts their egos too much being around people that make them have to keep them accountable to keep learning and growing. So why don't they just put themselves with people that they feel better than, and then it makes their egos inflated?
Yeah, your ego's not your friend. Your goals don't care about your feelings. So I think focusing on the goals, make sure that you're earning a place around high quality people that would help you accomplish your goals. And the best way to accomplish your goals is to learn from people who already did the thing that you want to do. So, if I want to be great at jiu-jitsu, if I want to have high level mastery of that, really useful to me to have people that have very high level mastery of that. Super useful to have people like that in my environment. Whatever it is that you want to do, if you want to be great at finance, if you want to understand financial markets, entrepreneurship, real estate, probably I could help you a lot with that. You're not going to figure it out by yourself. Nobody can. Nobody. Why didn't you just invent your own grappling strategy instead of learning jiu-jitsu, man? Like, yeah, nobody's going to figure it out by themselves, man. So everybody needs to have a good coach, a good mentor, a good teacher. But then you have to go do the work. Those are the moments that you have to, a lot of the other things that we said are that self-struggle of creating accountability mechanisms, make sure you show up consistently for your own success, put in the time, put in the effort, look for, obsessively look for new efficiencies and optimization strategies. Like, how could I do this even better? How could I make it more pretty? How could I tighten it up? What could I do instead that we could throw this system away and there'd be an even better system to get to the outcome? And I'm not attached to any of my, there's nothing that I've done or nothing that I'm doing that I'm so attached to that thing that I wouldn't be super happy to learn a better way. I'd be so happy to learn. It'd be amazing if I'm already doing what I'm doing or you're already doing what you're doing. And then, somehow you found a way of like, oh, this is all shit. Like you could just like 100%. Throw that away and you found a totally better system.
100%.
Like, that'd be like amazing. Be like a dream. Be like a dream to be like, oh, everything I've been doing is wrong. Now I can do it 3 times better. Like I'd adopt that immediately.
But then again, though, because our overall goal is growth and learning and improving, it isn't about a title. It isn't about a certain thing like that. And that's why we have this mindset that we're just looking for the most efficient way to keep improving, learning, and growing. Like whatever our passion with a purpose again is. And that's why we have that mindset instead of this is the way I do it. And it might be a shitty way, but there's people in jiu-jitsu, I'm telling you, that they'll do a move and there's a more efficient way to do it. But because they were the one that did the move this way, you can't tell them anything else. Mm-hmm. So they hold on to that move and they'll do it even though it's harder than something else.
Mm-hmm. There's people like that all over the world that they're attached to their way instead of a better way, and they're going to stay stuck right there. So that's unfortunate. Don't worry about titles. Last thought for me, I think, is if you need a title, if you need a job title or a degree or something of the sort to tell people that you're in charge, that you're not in charge, because a title doesn't confer that. If you're meaning like you're the manager or the senior manager or the vice president or the senior vice president or whatever executive position. If you need a title for people to know that you're in charge, you're really not in charge. You haven't done it. You could do a lot more. And in my business, nobody, everyone calls me Derek. I don't have a title. Nobody else has a fancy title. When there's one person in the past that used to bother him, that he wanted to be the director of this and that and invent titles, and I'm like, no. We're not going to do that, bro. Like, if you run a small business, if you're entrepreneurial at all, you're in charge of everything good, and you're in charge of all the small shit too. So I'm in charge to make sure the floor is clean. I'm in charge to make sure that everything in the environment is nice, clean, pristine. Now, of course, I want to outsource those things so I can focus on the higher level things that are going to bring a lot of value. But at the end of the day, you're in charge of everything. So I think it's silly to worry about a title. If there's a piece of trash on the floor, I'll pick it up, I'll throw it away. It doesn't hurt my feelings. But I do want to know who dropped it there. And it might hurt their feelings what I'm going to say to them. But don't worry about a title. Don't worry. Your title doesn't mean shit. Your outcomes mean shit. And I think I've been playing with this thought, for the past several months, maybe 5 months or so, of I think that your outcomes tell the truth about your intellect, and your outcomes tell the truth about your effort. Mm-hmm. Your outcomes, the results you're getting in life, let me say it that way. Your results tell the truth about your effort and your intellect.
100%.
Your results tell the truth about your effort and your intellect.
Yeah, and that's why for me with jiu-jitsu, again, I told you before I had very low self-esteem, right? So what I loved about competing in jiu-jitsu, it was just results. And I always say this is the only thing I felt that I didn't have to sell anyone or bullshit anyone. No one could take that away from me. I just win the tournament that just said my level. Mm-hmm. I didn't have to go up to people and say, oh, I'm the top person. Like a lot of the people I was around, they had all this confidence to say that. I didn't need that confidence. I just showed them by my results, So your results speak for you without you having to speak, telling people your level. You just show people with the results.
Your results tell the truth about your effort and your intellect.
Yeah, it's so cool. I always say that with jiu-jitsu.
If you want to help Kevin better results in finance and business and any element of money making, I'm here to help you with that. Fill out an application, request an interview to join one of my courses. Mikey, you got a couple big events coming up. What would you share about that? What's your schedule looking like?
Yeah, so I have about 5 weeks until I compete again at one championship in Thailand. I'm going against Gabriel Souza in the 145 division. And then September 6th in Denver, Colorado, I'm going up to 170 to attempt to win 2 belts in one championship. I have the belt in 135. And now I'm going for the 170 belt against Cade Rutolo. This should be probably the biggest fight of the year for jiu-jitsu. It's going to be an absolute war, and it's about 5 months away. Mm-hmm. So I'm in peak preparation right now, and it's been insane, but I'm living life 100% focus and passion, not drinking alcohol right now, not dating girls, nothing, just 100% training, 100% in that growth mindset. And that's what's going to make me maximize my potential. I want to, one day when I'm older and I can't compete, I want to look back and feel like I did everything I could in my ability to be the best I could.
Thank you very much for sharing a few thoughts and some philosophies. There's really a lot of gems in the conversation that Mikey and I just had. You might want to rewatch that. Those of you that are serious about optimizing your efficiency, optimizing your outcomes in life, having those maximum results. Remember, your results tell the truth about your effort and your intellect. Read this, go through this a second time, take a few notes, read those notes, see if it don't make your life an awful lot better.
And if I can say one more thing, and if you're struggling with something, you're having an obstacle, don't be upset, don't be pessimistic about suffering about something. What you're suffering about is actually gonna make you grow in the long run. So don't be like, why me, that victim mentality. Instead, understand, okay, this is hard for me now. And embrace it being hard, learn from that experience, and then you're gonna look back and be like, wow, that was so important that I suffered with whatever I'm struggling with. It made me who I am because of this, because of this. So whatever you're struggling with in your life right now, have patience and look for a solution. Don't look to just complain and be a victim. It's gonna make you better in the long run, and we should be grateful and blessed for all our obstacles we face in life.
Nobody wants to hear a complainer. People want to hear from winners, not complainers. Critics don't get paid much. Haters don't get paid much. So, your goal needs to be overcoming your current circumstances and obstacles to earn better circumstances and frankly, better obstacles. So when you get past your current frustrations, your reward in life is going to be higher quality frustrations. When you solve your current problems, you're now qualified for higher quality problems. So bigger problems, frankly. But your success in life is directly proportional to the size of the problems that you're able to solve, to the size of the obstacles that you're able to overcome. So I think 100% agree with Mikey. Look at that as an opportunity.
Yep.
That over you overcome these current obstacles, that'll give you some frameworks in your head that when you're now challenged with a bigger obstacle, a bigger frustration, be like, well, I fixed this, I solved that, I did that. That was pretty frustrating at the time, but I got past it and I did better. And you're going to keep that momentum and you're going to continue winning. So again, Mikey, thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you.
I'll see the best of you soon. Good luck to the rest of you. You're going to need it.
You watch this video all the way through, and that tells me you're dedicated to learning more and earning far above average outcomes in your life. Congratulations for that. But now it's time to take action. If you could have earned those results by yourself, you would have done it already. My head coach has opened up a few spots on his high-demand calendar for an in-person, one-on-one strategy session to help you. On this call, we'll give you the pragmatic advice that you can implement tonight to get laser-focused on the right metrics and leave mediocrity far behind in your past. Click that link right now in the description below and apply for your call immediately. Do it now.